Okay, once again, thank you very much, Dhamma brothers and sisters, for your patience and enthusiasm in following this series of 4 talks here. And today is our last session. And yes, so let's calm our mind for this last session with a few minutes of meditation first. I think by now you're very familiar with the procedures in meditation, right? So just check your sitting position, relax yourself. Straighten your back, upright but not uptight. Imagine a string on top of your head pulling you up. Roll back your shoulders. Align your ears and shoulders. Relax. And focus on your breath, the area above your nose. Yeah. You can either count your breath 1 to 10, or if your mind is calm enough, no need to count. Just focus on your breath, the area above your upper lip. Yeah, below your nose, above your upper lip. Just focus on your breath. Okay, let's again calm our mind by focusing on your breath, either counting 1 to 10, or just focus on the area above your upper lip. Gently focus on your breath. Whenever you find your mind wandering away, that's okay. Just bring it back to your breath. That's all you need to do. Yeah. Any thoughts, wandering thoughts, that's okay. Just let them go and then come back to your breath. Okay, when we are focusing on just one object of meditation, like our breath, we are practicing calm meditation, tranquility meditation, or samatha meditation. Okay, come back to our breath. Again, back to our breath. Okay, so with a calm mind now, gently bring our breath to our upper body. We are going to practice mindfulness of the body by scanning our body. So gently bring our attention to our head, right? To our face. Relax all the muscles, all the cells of our face, of our head. Smile. Let go. Relax all the cells, all the tissues, all the muscles of our face, of our head. Smile at all of them. Let go. From the face, let's move on to our shoulders. From the shoulders to the tips of our fingers, relax all the muscles, tissues, cells, and let go. Relax, smile, let go. So we've relaxed from the top of our head, through the shoulders, through the fingers, the tips of our fingers. Now let's move on to our center body, our middle body, the chest and the back. Relax all our muscles on our chest, front and back, all the tissues, all the cells. Relax, smile, and let go. Again, relax all the muscles, all the tissues, all the cells of our middle body, front of our chest and our back. Relax, smile, let go. Now that we've relaxed our upper body and middle body, let us move on to our lower body, from our buttocks all the way through our thighs, all the way to the tips of our toes. Relax our lower body, all the muscles, tissues, all the cells. Relax. Again, relax our lower body from the buttocks all the way to the tips of our toes, all the muscles, tissues, cells. Relax, smile, let go. Now that we have relaxed from the top of our head, through our middle body, through our lower body, to the tips of our toes, let us now gently bring our attention to our heart. We're going to practice metta meditation. Bring our attention gently to our heart, filling our heart with love, with loving kindness, with metta, right? Loving kindness, or love in short. Let's fill our heart with love. And let's radiate it to all the cells of our body. From our heart to all the cells of our body. Telling all our cells, may I be well and happy. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be loved. Again, radiate love from our heart to all the cells of our body and wish ourselves, may I be well and happy. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be loved. Now that all the cells of our body are brimming with love, let us radiate them to our loved ones, our family members, our friends, our colleagues, people we know. Let's radiate our love to all of them, wishing them, may you be well and happy. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be loved. Again, now that we're brimming with love in all our cells, let's radiate them to all the people we love and care about, our family members, friends, colleagues, all the people we know, wishing them, may you be well and happy. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be loved. And now let's wish all beings on our planet Earth, let's wish all beings of our universe, may all beings be well and happy. May all beings be peaceful and at ease. May all beings with love. So let's radiate all the love from the cells of our body to all beings of our planet, to all beings of the universe. May all beings be well and happy. May all beings be peaceful and at ease. May all beings be loved. From love, from loving kindness, let us fill ourselves with compassion, filling our heart, all the cells of our body with compassion. Let's wish ourselves, may I be free from suffering. May my heart be open. May I be healed, and may I be a source of healing for others. Again, fill our heart and all our cells with compassion, wishing us, may I be free from suffering. May my heart be open. May I be healed, and may I be a source of healing for others. With compassion welling up in all our cells, let us wish compassion to all the people we care about, our family members, friends, colleagues, all the people we know. Let's wish them, may you be free from suffering. May your heart be open. May you be healed, and may you be a source of healing for others. Again, let's radiate compassion from all the cells in our body to all the people we know, we care about. May you be free from suffering. May your heart be open. May you be healed, and may you be a source of healing for others. Now that we've filled ourselves with love, compassion, let us fill up ourselves with joy. Let's fill up all the cells in our body with joy, wishing us, may I nourish myself with joy and rejoice in the happiness of others. And may I help just as good as I can. Fill up our heart with joy and radiate joy to all the cells of our body, wishing ourselves, may I nourish myself with joy and rejoice in the happiness of others. And may I help just as good as I can. Now that we're filled with joy, let us radiate joy from all the cells of our body to all the people we care about, to all the people we know. Wishing them, may you nourish yourself with joy and rejoice in the happiness of others. And may you help just as good as you can. Again, let us radiate joy to all the people we care about, all the people we know, wishing them, may you nourish yourself with joy and rejoice in the happiness of others. And may you help just as good as you can. Now that we fill ourselves with love, compassion, joy, let us fill ourselves with equanimity, All right. Let's radiate equanimity to all our selves, wishing us, may I be equanimous. May I live fresh, solid, and free. May I not fall into indifference, attachment, or aversion. And may I know the beauty of my own nature. So let's fill our heart with equanimity and radiate equanimity to all the cells of our body, wishing ourselves, may I be equanimous. May I live fresh, solid, and free. May I not fall into indifference, attachment, or aversion. And may I know the beauty of my own nature. Brimming with equanimity, let us radiate equanimity to all the people we know, family members, friends, all the people we know, wishing them, may you be equanimous. May you live fresh, solid, and free. May you not fall into indifference, attachment, or aversion. And may you know the beauty of your own nature. Again, let's radiate equanimity to all the people we know, wishing them, may you be equanimous. May you live fresh, solid, and free. May you not fall into indifference, attachment, or aversion. May you know the beauty of your own nature. Finally, let us radiate equanimity to all beings of the planet, to all beings of the universe. May all beings be equanimous. May all beings live fresh, solid, and free. May all beings not fall into indifference, attachment, or aversion. May all beings know the beauty of their own nature. Again, let's radiate equanimity from all the cells of our body to all beings of our planet, to all beings of the universe. May all beings be equanimous. May all beings live fresh, solid, and free. May all beings not fall into indifference, attachment, or aversion. May all beings know the beauty of their own nature. Very good. So now we've filled ourselves with the four sublime virtues of love, compassion, joy, equanimity, and we've radiated love, compassion, joy, and equanimity to all beings. Just gently, let's open our eyes. Yeah. And with our calm mind, yeah, we can proceed to our final lecture, final talk. So welcome again to our final talk on the Four Noble Truths, concluding with the fourth Noble Truth, path leading to the end of suffering. We will begin by reviewing our last lecture, and then moving on to take a look at mental development, starting with a conceptual understanding, then moving on to the three components of right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Then looking at wisdom in terms of the two components of right understanding or right view, and right thought or right intention. We'll briefly talk about the Four Noble Truths and interdependent origination, and then conclude with the topic from suffering to happiness. Okay, so that's the structure for this evening's talk. A quick revision of what we covered last week. Yeah, we look at the third and fourth noble truths, end of suffering and the path leading to the end of suffering. We started off by talking about the third noble truth, end of suffering, 3 levels of happiness in this life, in future lives, and the happiness of liberation. We talk about the happiness of morality and happiness of mental purity by avoiding evil, doing good, and purifying the mind. We move on to take a look at Nibbana, 7 expressions, cessation of the 3 unwholesome factors of greed, hatred, and delusion, the highest wholesomeness, the end of karma, the highest level of knowledge, freedom from views, world transcendence, and the unconditioned. Then we look at 2 ways of understanding Nibbana, Nibbana with the remainder of life, Nibbana without remainder of life. We look at how we can practice from happiness, true happiness. In terms of suffering, we should accept it, embrace it, meaning to understand the nature and cause of our suffering, transform our suffering from suffering to happiness, and then let go. In doing so, we will cultivate the happiness of morality by avoiding evil, doing good, as well as the happiness of mental purity by purifying our mind so that we can further develop wisdom and realize the ultimate happiness of Nibbana. Then we move on to the 4th noble truth, Noble Eightfold Path and the Middle Way, looking at morality or good conduct. Well, the Noble Eightfold Path consists of morality or good conduct, 3 components, mental development, 3 components, and wisdom, 2 components. We move on to take a look at morality, beginning with right speech, 4 aspects, the avoidance of lying, backbiting, harsh speech, and idle talk. 3 aspects of right action, the avoidance of killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. 5 aspects of right livelihood, the avoidance of trades in lethal weapons, animals for slaughter, slavery, poisons and intoxicants, drugs and alcohol. And we ended with faith and the precepts of morality, looking at the 5 precepts, 10 causes of unwholesome action, 8 precepts, 10 precepts, precepts for monks and nuns, and then vegetarianism. So in short, the first 2 lectures, we've covered the first and second noble truths. We have covered the 3 universal truths. Last week, we have covered nirvana, and then the 3 steps of the Noble Eightfold Path, the 4th noble truth. And today, we're going to finish the remaining 5 steps of the Noble Eightfold Path. So let's move on. Yes, mental development. We see that mental development or samadhi is placed between conduct and wisdom because it is important to both. Now, when we follow the rules of morality, it is easy to do so when things are going well. But in situations of stress, instability, uncertainty, it may be more difficult to observe the rules of good conduct. And if we can develop our mental capability, that can help us to strengthen our mind, attain control over it, and therefore help us to better observe morality. So mental development is important for enhancing morality. Now, mental development is also important for the sound practice of wisdom. If we wish to realize enlightenment, if we wish to be liberated, the only way is through wisdom. And when we talk about wisdom, we are talking about seeing things as they are. Okay, good. Well, and as we know, right, life is impermanent, life is imperfect. So let's make the best of our imperfections, yeah? Maintain our calm mind that we have talked about. All right, so yes, right effort, avoid the effort to avoid unwholesome thoughts from arising, the effort to overcome unwholesome thoughts once they have arisen. Thirdly, the effort to develop wholesome thoughts. And then fourthly, the effort to maintain wholesome thoughts that have arisen. Okay? So these are the four elements of right effort, the first component of mental development. Now, more generally, right effort also means cultivating a confident attitude towards our undertakings, to take up and pursue our tasks with energy, enthusiasm, and a will to carry them through to the end. So at the same time, of course, our efforts should be controlled, balanced, and sustained, just like the middle way, right, that we've talked about last week. Our effort should not become too tense or too loose. So if our efforts are too loose, then we will lapse into laziness or idleness. If our efforts are too tense, we may get burnout, right? During the 2 years of COVID, we've heard so many cases of burnout. So let's maintain balance in our effort as well. So with this right effort, we can be successful in whatever we plan to do, whether in our studies, careers, or practice of the Dharma. So again, right effort, the effort to live a moral and blameless life. Right effort plays a very important part in developing wisdom through cultivation of virtue and mental discipline. So from right effort, let's just move on to the second component of mental development, which is right mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is awareness, to remember or to keep in mind. It is awareness and attention, right? Avoiding a distracted, cloudy state of mind. And mindfulness can increase our efficiency and productivity. It can reduce the number of accidents that occur due to our inattention and our general lack of awareness. And when we practice Dharma, mindfulness acts as a guard to rein in our mind, because in our daily life, our minds are constantly running after objects of our senses, right? Such as our sights, sound, smells, taste, touch, and thoughts. And this can lead to unwholesome mental states. So when we're mindful, mindfulness can help to keep our minds from becoming too distracted and entangled with such sense objects. So look at this picture here. Right, this person is taking a walk on a bright day. So if his mind or her mind is full of distractions, it is like on the picture on the left. But if his mind or if his or her mind is really mindful, sees the sun, sees the sky, sees the tree, and is fully appreciating, fully living every moment of life. Okay? So this is the importance of mindfulness. And there are 2 steps to practice mindfulness. First, we cultivate a confident attitude of mind by being aware and by being attentive. And then we watch our body and mind and know what we're doing at all times. So mindfulness means stepping back, standing back from our processes of body and mind, and then calmly observing them with our full presence of mind, with our attention, with clarity. We are widely awake. We are fully with it. We are not floating away, right? If we're floating away, then we are distracted. We're not mindful. Well, the Chinese character for mindfulness is Nian. As you can see here, the top radical is Jing, that means now, right? This moment. And the bottom radical is Xing, that means putting our mind to it. So be mindful of now. Be mindful of the present moment. That's mindfulness. Breathing mindfully, we simply enjoy our in-breath and out-breath. We bring the mind home to our body, and we realize that we are alive, still alive. And this is a wonder. To be alive is the greatest of all miracles, Master Thich Nhat Hanh tells us. And no matter what we're doing, we can practice mindfulness by focusing our mind precisely on what we're doing at this very moment, whether it is going to school, cleaning the house, or chatting with a friend. In this way, mindfulness can keep our mind properly grounded in the present moment in a way that will keep us on the path of Buddhist practice to ultimately achieve the end of suffering. So the importance of mindfulness, if we are not fully ourselves, if we are not truly in the present moment, we miss everything. And you may have come across this time cover in 2014. It talks about the mindful revolution. Yeah, the science of fighting focus in a stressed-out multitasking culture through the practice of mindfulness. Okay. Now, in the Buddhist context, when we talk about right mindfulness, we always think in terms of the 4 foundations or the 4 establishments of mindfulness. And this is described in the Satipatthana Sutta. So we begin with mindfulness of the body. That's the first foundation of mindfulness. And we've been doing that, right? That refers to our breathing, knowing our in-breath, out-breath. It refers to our 4 postures of walking, standing, sitting, and lying down. That means mindful of our walking, of our standing, of our sitting, of our lying down. So let us be aware of our bodies. Breathing in, I know I'm sitting. Breathing out, I smile to my body. And if we can be mindful of our body, of our breath, of our postures, then we can enjoy all these benefits. Yeah, provides calm, sense of calm, reduce anxiety, anger, confusion, helps reverse heart disease, reduce pain, maintain stillness, reduce stress, increases energy, balance, slows the heart rate, have a smiling body, increases immunity, calm the mind, increases blood flow, help to still the thoughts, reduces depression. So a lot of benefits, mindfulness. Now, mindfulness of the body can also be practiced by knowing the 32 impure parts of the body. And we practice this mindfulness when we want to encounter strong attachment to our body, right? When we have lust. And then we remember the 32 impure parts of the body, starting from our head hair, our body hair, our nails, teeth, to our mucus, to our blood, to our sweat, to our tears, to our saliva, to our urine, to our feces, right? So if we have strong attachment to the body, we have lust. Think about all these organs, all these parts of our body, yeah? And then hopefully our attachment will diminish, and then we will not be overcome by lust. Okay? We can also practice mindfulness of the body by scanning all parts of our body, yeah, just like what we did just now, smiling to all parts of the body, and the love and care of this kind of scanning meditation, body scanning meditation, can help us in our healing. All right? Well, benefits of body scanning: improves concentration, cultivates awareness, has the power to heal, understand how stress affects our body, gives us greater capacity to listen to healing. So breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. Now, we can also practice mindfulness of the body by being mindful of the 4 elements of the body, as we can see in the picture on the bottom left, right? The 4 elements are earth, representing solidity, water, representing fluidity, fire, representing heat, and air or wind, representing motion. So breathing in, I see the earth element in me. Breathing out, I smile to the earth element in me. When we see the earth element inside and outside of us, we realize that there's no boundary between us and the rest of the universe. We see that we are interbeing, we are interconnected, we are everywhere. Master Thich Nhat Hanh tells us, keeping our body healthy is an expression of gratitude to the whole cosmos, to the whole universe, the trees, the clouds, everything. And we're here to awaken from our illusion of separateness. For to be is to interbe. For we are all interconnected, we are all everywhere. Okay? So we've talked about mindfulness of the body in terms of being mindful of our breathing, in terms of being mindful of our 4 postures, mindful of the 32 impure parts of the body, mindful of the 4 elements of the body, mindful by practicing body scanning. Okay, so that's the first foundation of mindfulness. Let us move on to the second foundation of mindfulness, and that is mindfulness of feelings or sensations. We've done this practice before. So this means to know whether the feelings that arise in us, in our body or mind, are pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, right? Pleasant, unpleasant, or neither pleasant nor unpleasant. So that's all we need to know, right? When we're mindful of our feelings, check. Is it feelings of pleasure, feelings of displeasure, or neutral feelings? And from here, we can move on. Facing our feelings with care, with affection, with non-violence, we can transform our feelings into an energy that is healthy and nourishing. So that's the application of the mindfulness of feelings, right? When we're mindful, when we're deeply in touch with the present moment, our understanding of what is going on deepens, and we begin to be filled with acceptance, joy, peace, and love. So if we face our feelings with care, affection, and non-violence, we can transform our feelings into energy that is healthy and nourishing. Acceptance, joy, peace, and love. So that's the second foundation of mindfulness, mindfulness of feelings. Now, let us move on to the third foundation of mindfulness, and that's mindfulness of our mind, or our states of mind, or our emotions. Okay, we have also practiced this. That is to know the presence or absence of unwholesome states of mind or our emotions, to know our degree of mental development and concentration, our stability of mind. And when we embrace our states of mind, when we embrace our emotions, even difficult emotions, difficult states of mind like anger and fear, we will suffer less right away. We can begin our healing and transformation processes. So learn to accept and embrace our states of mind, our emotions. So here it says, for example, when anger arises, don't think I'm angry as if the anger belongs to us. Be aware of the arising of anger and the state of an angry mind, and realize that it is both impermanent and devoid of self, not self. By doing so, our anger loses its compelling power and quickly subsides. This is the technique of nipping anxiety and other negative thoughts. And this is the technique to cultivate positive feelings, positive emotions, such as love, compassion, mental purity, equanimity, and happiness, just like what we did just now. Okay? Fear keeps us focused on the past or worried about the future. If we can acknowledge our fear, we can realize that right now, we're okay. Right now, today, we're still alive and our bodies are working marvelously. Our eyes can still see the beautiful sky. Our ears can still hear the voices of our loved ones. So this is how Master Thich Nhat Hanh teaches us, to deal with fear. Okay, accept it, embrace it, transform it, and then let go of it. So we've talked about 3 foundations of mindfulness: mindfulness of body, mindfulness of feelings, and mindfulness of our states of mind or emotions. Let us now move on to the 4th foundation of mindfulness, and that is mindfulness of all phenomena, or mindfulness of all physical and mental processes. This is actually telling us to be mindful of our 5 aggregates. Why is that so? Because we experience our world through our body and mind, right? Through our 5 aggregates. So when we're mindful of our 5 aggregates, we are actually mindful of all our experiences of the world. We're mindful of all phenomena. We're mindful of all physical and mental processes. So the 5 aggregates consist of body and mind. Body referring to form or matter, and mind, our feelings, sensation, perception, our volition, and our consciousness. So go back and take care of ourselves. Our body needs us. Our feelings need us. Our perceptions need us. Our suffering needs us to acknowledge it. Go home and be there for all these things. Go home and be there for all our 5 aggregates. Go home and be there for our body and mind. And in this way, we are actually mindful of all our experiences. We're mindful of all phenomena. We're mindful of all our physical and mental processes. And so we see the 4 establishments of mindfulness contain everything in the universe. If we see the truth of one thing in the universe, we see the nature of the universe. Because of our mindfulness, our deep looking, the nature of the universe will reveal itself. 4, we are all the leaves of one tree. 4, we are all the waves of one sea. And so Master Thich Nhat Hanh tells us, let us honor our diversity and let us celebrate our connection. For together we are one, right? So we're all the leaves of one tree. We're all the waves of one sea. Let's honor our diversity and celebrate our connection. For together we are one. Now, when we're mindful of these 4 objects, mindful of our body, of our feelings, of our mind, or mindful of Dharma, referring to all phenomena, all our physical and mental processes, we are aware of their flowing nature, the moments rising and falling. We're aware of their impermanence. And in being mindful in this way, we perceive them as they are. We abandon any notion that they might be worth craving, as capable of providing lasting happiness, or as an object of attachment as our true self. We realize that there's no true self. In knowing and seeing the body, in knowing and seeing our feelings, the mind, and all phenomena as they are, we begin to let go and eliminate any basis for craving. And we can let go of the forces of greed, anger, and delusion that power our suffering and rebirth. So this is the power of mindfulness meditation, for that will lead us to insights, to wisdom, and ultimately to nirvana. And because of this, Master Thich Nhat Hanh tells us that mindfulness is the Buddha. Right mindfulness is the energy that brings us back to the present moment, to be fully alive and fully aware of our present moment. Right mindfulness is inclusive and loving. To cultivate mindfulness is to cultivate the Buddha within us. The 4 establishments of mindfulness are the foundations of our home, our body and mind. When we're truly home, when we're truly in our body and mind, we will be a place of refuge for ourselves and for others. And so the capacity of waking up, of being aware of what is going on in our feelings, in our body, in our perceptions, in the world, is called Buddha nature. The capacity of understanding and loving. So mindfulness is the Buddha. When we practice mindfulness, we generate the energy of the Buddha within us and around us. And this is the energy that can save the world. Master Thich Nhat Hanh continues to tell us, use our Buddha eyes to see with the energy of mindfulness, to see with insight and understanding. When we listen with our Buddha ears, we can restore communication and relieve a lot of suffering. When we put the energy of mindfulness into our hands, our Buddha hands, our actions can change the world and bring happiness to many people. So in mindfulness, we are not only restful and happy, but we are alert and awake. And meditation is therefore not evasion. It is not escapism. It is a serene encounter with reality. And the source of love is deep in us, and we can help others realize a lot of happiness if we're mindful, right? One word, one action, one thought can reduce another person's suffering and bring that person joy. So through the practice of mindfulness, we can look deeply in order to see and understand the needs, the aspirations, and the suffering of all the people we love. And this is the ground of real love, Master Thich Nhat Hanh says. And so let's promise ourselves that we will enjoy every minute of every day that is given to us to live. And to live means to live mindfully. Okay? So this is the second component of mental development, right mindfulness. We have finished right effort. We have finished right mindfulness. Let us move on to the third component, which is right concentration. And this refers to calmness meditation or tranquility meditation, or in Pali, it refers to samatha meditation. And this is the practice of focusing our mind single-pointedly on an object, like what we did just now, right? On our breath. Yeah, our object can be physical, like our breath or our abdominal breathing. Our object can be mental, like a flame or an image, or our object can be an idea, such as love, compassion, joy, or equanimity. So when we practice metta meditation just now, it is actually a form of calm or tranquility meditation as well. All right. So if we can practice calm meditation, that will bring our mind to a condition of stillness. And in this condition of stillness, we can find complete contentment with our object of focus. And these states of consciousness are usually termed samadhi or jhana, right? Jhana. And they refer to deep thought or absorption. Normally, we just translate jhana as absorption. And if we can do that, we can practice calm meditation. These are all the benefits. Increases concentration, stops monkey mind, promotes joy, increases inner peace, helps to balance emotions, make us more productive, help us to see reality outside of mental delusions, reduces prejudices, reduces stress, boosts immune system, promotes positive feelings. So many benefits, right? Just now we talked about the benefits of mindfulness meditation. These are the benefits of calm meditation. All we need to do is to find a place outdoor, or indoor, sit in a comfortable position, and then place our mind's attention on the object of meditation. So no matter what position, whether lotus, half lotus, Burmese style, zafu, the pillow beneath our feet, that's Japanese style, or seiza, a low bench, Japanese style, or sitting on a chair. These are all perfectly fine, right? Because we are practicing to transform our mind. We're not practicing to transform our sitting positions. So it is the mind that is important, and the sitting position helps us to do that. Okay. So when we find our mind wandering, we just simply bring our attention back to the object of our meditation. For example, with our breath. Now, what happens when we find that our mind cannot become absorbed in the object of meditation? This is because we have the 5 obstacles or 5 hindrances to meditation, and that's sensory desire, seeking happiness through our senses. That's ill will, by having all kinds of thoughts related to wanting to reject, feelings of hostility, resentment, hatred, and bitterness. Another obstacle or hindrance is sloth and torpor, heaviness of body, dullness of mind, which drag us down into inertia, anxiety, depression. Yet another obstacle is restlessness, worry, the inability to calm our mind. And the last hindrance or obstacle is having doubt in the value, in the method of our practice. So lack of conviction or trust in the Buddha's teaching, because Buddha is the one who tells us the value of meditation. Okay, so if we have these 5 hindrances, that will prevent our mind from reaching a very calm, still state. So what to do? We just need to overcome these 5 hindrances. If we have ill will, we practice loving kindness, we can give a person a gift. That generosity, right? Will help us to overcome ill will. If we have cravings, sensual pleasure, we think about the consequences or the ugly parts of the body. If we have a sloth or torpor, we can take a walk, look at light. We affirm our determination. If we are restless, we try to focus on our breath, on our thoughts. And if we have doubt, we talk to somebody who can tell us more about meditation and the benefits of meditation. Okay, so when we practice calmness meditation, we may have these 5 hindrances. We need to learn how to overcome these 5 hindrances. And when we make progress in managing these 5 hindrances, we will be on our way to access concentration. And access concentration refers to a state of mind on the threshold, just ahead, just before jhana, just before deep absorption. So you see this sign here, jhana ahead. When we are in a mind of access concentration, the next step will be jhana. All right. So access concentration comes about when we are managing the 5 hindrances well. And when we manage the 5 hindrances well, we will develop the 5 factors of jhana. And the 5 factors of jhana, you see in this chart here, begins with the first factor, and that is initial application of thought. That means the process of applying our mind to the object. So for instance, our breath, right? We keep on trying to focus on the breath. That's initial application of thought. And then we have the second factor of jhana, that sustained application of thought that will lead our mind to remain on the object. So we first start off with our breath. We try to bring our breath, we try to focus our breath. And when we can focus our breath, we have the second factor, sustained application. And if we continue with that, we will have the third factor of jhana, and that is joy, the spiritual joy experienced in meditation. And if we continue meditating, we will move to the fourth factor of jhana, and that is happiness, a feeling of deep contentment, more tranquil than joy. And from then on, if we continue to practice, we will move into the fifth factor of jhana, and that is one-pointedness. Our mind becomes wholly unified on our object, on our breath. So our mind identifies with our breath. Okay? So when we are in the process of overcoming the 5 hindrances, we are at the same time developing these 5 factors of jhana. When we have arrived at a certain balance in these 5 factors of jhana, we are in the stage of excess concentration. And when we further develop the 5 factors of jhana, we will develop the 4 jhanas. So now let us talk about the 4 jhanas. Okay, so the first jhana consists of all the 5 factors of jhana. Yeah. So initial application, sustained application, joy, happiness, one-pointedness. When we're in the first jhana, our mind is blissfully object in rapt concentration on our object, for instance, our breath. And when we're in first jhana, we have peaceful calmness, deeper than that of sound sleep, but with greater awareness than in waking consciousness. When we emerge from this first jhana, there's a purifying afterglow in our complexion. And we have less compulsion to think, we have less urge to eat or to sleep. So that's when we know we're into the first jhana. Maybe some of you have experienced first jhana before. You feel like you can sit forever, right? No pain at all. From the first jhana, we can go into the second jhana. Our mind's absorption has become so refined that we are left with three factors: joy, happiness, and one-pointedness. Because we are no longer trying to just focus on the breath. It just comes effortlessly. So we can experience joy, happiness, and one-pointedness. From there, we practice further. We go into the third jhana. And in the third jhana, we are left with happiness and one-pointedness, right? Very deep sense of calmness, happiness, and one-pointedness. And then when we go into the fourth jhana, we are left with only one-pointedness. Yeah, we are in a state of pure equanimity. And when we reach the fourth jhana, we have completed the process of calming our mind, right? Concentrating our mind, stilling our mind. Okay? So when we practice calm meditation, we start off by just calming our mind. When we overcome the 5 hindrances, we develop excess concentration. When we access concentration, we go into the jhanas, first, second, third, fourth jhana. And if we still go beyond the fourth jhana, we can go into what we call the four formless realms, right? The realm of infinite space, the realm of infinite consciousness, the realm of nothingness, the realm of neither perception nor non-perception. Okay? So in Buddhist meditation, normally we talk about fourth jhana as very significant, because when we are in the fourth jhana, we can develop meditational powers, we can develop higher knowledges, and these include the ability to hear distant sounds, to see things unseen to our physical eye, to know the minds of others, and to know the past lives of ourselves and others. And of course, the Buddha, right? He has all these meditational powers or higher knowledges. And that can be attained only if we are into the fourth jhana. But of course, meditational powers are not seen to be an essential or necessary part of Buddhist practice. They are just byproducts, natural byproducts of calmness meditation. Okay, so we've finished the three components of mental development: right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Now let us move on, right, to the last two components that comes under wisdom. And under wisdom, we have right understanding or right view, and right thought or right intention. Okay, you can see on the left, wisdom, right? Now, right view, right intention. Now, what is wisdom? Wisdom is described as the understanding of such realities as the Four Noble Truths, interdependent origination, which we'll talk about later, and understanding of the three universal characteristics. So we see on the right, Four Noble Truths, three universal characteristics. When we fully realize three universal characteristics, we realize the third noble truth, which is nirvana. And now we are walking the final steps, the Noble Eightfold Path, the fourth noble truth, to attain nibbana, and that is wisdom. When we talk about attaining wisdom, we're talking about transforming our intellectual knowledge, right? Our academic knowledge into something that is real, something that is experiential, something that is realized. Yeah. And to do so, we also have to practice good conduct and mental development. So all these are the components of the Noble Eightfold Path. So let us talk briefly about right understanding or right view, the first of the two components of wisdom. We can identify two levels of right understanding or right view. First is the ordinary level or ordinary aspect, and second is the higher level or higher aspect. So let us talk about the ordinary level first. This refers to our worldly goal of the practice of Buddhism, the goal of happiness and prosperity in this life and future lives. We've talked about this before, right? Happiness of this life and future lives. And to do so, we must have the correct understanding of the relationship between cause and effect in relation to our moral behavior. This means understanding the law of karma. Yeah, I'm sure you all know about karma, right? What you give comes back to you. Welcome to Karma Cafe. There are no menus. You will get what you deserve. So whatever we do, our actions, we will reap the consequences. So this is the law of karma. If we act well, preserving the wholesome values of respect for life, property, truth, and so forth, we will experience the happy effects of our good actions. We will enjoy happiness and fortunate conditions in this life and in future lives. On the other hand, if we act in unwholesome ways, we will experience unhappiness, misery, and unfortunate conditions in this life and future lives. So this is the ordinary level of right understanding or right view. Okay, so this is the 31 realms or 31 planes of existence. If we do good, if we engage in wholesome deeds, we will be reborn as a human being or in the 6th deva, godly heavenly realms, right? So that represents wholesomeness, rebirth in the 7 planes of sensual happiness. If we are full of unwholesomeness, we'll be reborn in the 4 planes or 4 realms of misery, demons, hungry ghosts, animals, hell. If our mind is constantly in jhana, we will be reborn in the 16 form planes, which are beings of fine material, because there are 3 realms of first jhana, 3 realms of second jhana, 3 realms of third jhana, and 7 realms of fourth jhana. So add up together, there are 16 realms of jhana. And if our minds are in a state beyond the 4th jhana, we will be reborn in the 4 formless realms, right? The realms of infinite space, infinite consciousness, nothingness, and the realm of neither perception nor non-perception. This is why in Buddhism we say our mind is so important. Yeah, the state of our mind will depend. The state of our mind will decide on the realm of our rebirth. Wholesome mind, rebirth as human being or the heavenly realms. Unwholesome mind, rebirth in the lower realms. Minds of jhana, the 16 realms of jhana. Minds beyond jhana, the 4 formless realms. Okay? All right. So from the higher level of from the ordinary level of right understanding, let us move on to the higher level of right understanding. And that refers, of course, to the ultimate goal, the supramundane goal of Buddhist practice, which is nirvana, liberation, freedom, enlightenment. This means we'll be able to see things as they really are. We can understand the ultimate truth about things rather than seeing them as they appear to be, right? So we will attain enlightenment. We will experience the total destruction of ignorance, greed, and hatred. So no more these 3 animals of attachment, aversion, and ignorance when we are in a state of enlightenment. Okay, so we have talked about right understanding or right view in terms of ordinary level and higher level. And how do we go about acquiring right understanding or right view? Number one, through our learning, observing and study, like what we're doing now. And then through our reflecting, right? Examining and analyzing what we have observed and studied. And number three, by putting it into practice or putting it into meditation, right? So learning, reflecting, and practicing. This is how we can acquire right understanding and right view. Like this little monk, very hardworking, yeah? In learning, reflecting, and practicing. We should all be like him. Okay? So we finished the first component of right wisdom, which is right understanding or right view. Let us now move on to right thought or right intention. Thought, as we know, right, has a very important, a significant influence on our behavior. The Buddha said, if we act and speak with a pure mind, happiness follows like a shadow. If we act and speak with an impure mind, suffering follows as the wheel of a cart follows the hoof of the ox that draws it. So how people treat us is their karma. What is more important is how we react, yeah, to their action, and because how we react is our karma. So we cannot control what other people do, say, right, or do, but we can control how we react, how we respond to them. And if we if we react in wholesome ways, we are creating good karma. So we know that karma means what goes around comes around. So let us keep our circle positive. Let us speak good words. Let us think good thoughts, and let us do good deeds. Okay. Yes, that's right thought, right intention. Now, right thought or right intention means to avoid greed or attachment and to avoid hatred and aversion. You see on the left, this poison, right? Greed, anger, ignorance. And that, of course, led us to suffering. Yeah. So when we have right understanding just now, that will help us to remove ignorance. And now, if we have right thought and right intention, that will help us to remove our greed and anger. And so we can transform our greed, anger, ignorance to generosity, compassion, and wisdom. Okay? So we can remove greed and attachment by practicing generosity and detachment. Give for the sake of giving without expecting anything in return. And then we lead a simple life, right? Keep our life simple, keep our life light, keep things light. Look at this monk, yeah? All he needs in his life is this one pack, yeah, of things. How can we remove hatred and aversion? We practice loving kindness or love and compassion. And this brings us to the topic of the four immeasurables or the four divine things or sublime states, which is metta meditation, which is what we practice at the beginning of this talk, right? So a compassionate mind is filled with the four divine attributes of love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. These four qualities are known as the four divine abidings or the four sublime states, and they are called immeasurable because if we practice them, they will grow in us every day until they embrace the whole world. We will become happier, and everyone around us will become happier too. So let us water the four immeasurables of love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Compassion is always here for us, waiting to be awakened. So the way we practice metta meditation, what we did just now, we begin by filling ourselves with love, compassion, joy, equanimity. Then we radiate to people we know, our parents, brothers, sisters, relatives, friends, enemies, all the people in our country, all the people in the world, in the planet, in the universe. We welcome all beings, yeah, regardless of races, ethnicities, religions, backgrounds, gender identities, sizes, sexual orientations, abilities and disabilities, languages, ages, everyone. we radiate to everyone. We stand with you. You are safe here. So we are being inclusive and loving when we practice metta meditation. Okay? And if we develop these 4 immeasurables, we can also counter such unwholesome traits as selfishness, cruelty, jealousy, paranoia, and indifference. When we practice love, loving kindness, we can counter selfish love and ill will. When we practice compassion, we can counter pity and cruelty. When we counter empathic joy, we can counter blind euphoria or jealousy. When we practice equanimity, we can counter indifference, apathy, and paranoia. Okay, so good antidotes to all these unwholesome mindsets. Well, cultivating a compassionate mind, therefore, can be a healing meditation that teaches us to begin by accepting ourselves as we are, accepting others as they are, and then working together for a better community and society. In our daily life, we can practice simple acts of love, compassion, joy, and equanimity, such as smiling and greeting others, conveying our warm wishes, and be around when help is needed. Well, a bodhisattva is someone who has compassion within himself or herself and who is able to make another person smile or help someone suffer less. Every one of us is capable of this, right? So simple acts of kindness, such as smiling and helping people. When we love someone, the best thing we can offer is our presence. How can we love if we are not there? So when a family member or friend has a problem, sometimes all the person needs is a listening ear, is our presence. If we can be just there to listen, that helps in the healing process. That helps to alleviate suffering. So by countering our negative emotions, we can develop a compassionate mind that can increase our wholesome qualities and our level of happiness. And compassion, the practice of compassion, is also used in such treatments as compassion-focused therapy, CFT. Some of you may have heard of this. Therefore, waking up this morning, let's smile. 24 brand new hours are before me. We vow to live it fully in each moment and to look at all beings with the eyes of compassion. Master Thich Nhat Hanh encourages us to do this. And if we practice compassion, we can enjoy the benefits of compassion as demonstrated by scientific studies and research. The benefits, the major benefits include increased immunity, more pro-social behaviors, greater empathy for others, and increased happiness. All right. So many benefits, right? To mindfulness meditation, to calm meditation, to metta meditation. The Buddha is wonderful, isn't it? His teachings are wonderful, isn't it? So to summarize, by practicing the wisdom aspect of the Noble Eightfold Path, which includes right view and right intention, we can gradually eliminate the causes of our suffering, which are ignorant, craving, and aversion, and we can gain peace and happiness. When we totally eradicate these causes of suffering, we will attain the bliss of nirvana, which is, of course, the ultimate goal of the Noble Eightfold Path. So we've talked about the Four Noble Truths, we've talked about the 3 universal characteristics, we've talked about the third noble truth, which is nirvana, and we've talked about how to get to nirvana, the 4th noble truth, the Noble Eightfold Path. And if we can practice that, we can transform our greed, anger, ignorance to generosity, compassion, wisdom, and ultimately to realize wisdom, to realize nirvana, okay, the ultimate wisdom. So we finished the Four Noble Truths, and now just very briefly on the Four Noble Truths and the concept of interdependent origination, because we've talked about interdependent origination in our previous talks, right? Making some brief mention about it. So what is the relationship between the Four Noble Truths and interdependent origination? Well, the Buddha often expressed his experience of enlightenment in one of two ways, either in terms of having understood the Four Noble Truths or in terms of having understood interdependent origination. Another term for it is dependent arising. Okay, so on the left, we have the Four Noble Truths: suffering, or cause of suffering, end of suffering, path out of suffering. On the right, we have a book on dependent arising or interdependent origination. So what is the relationship between these two? The principle that the Four Noble Truths and interdependent origination have in common is the principle of causality, cause and effect, the law of cause and effect, action and reaction. In the Four Noble Truths, we have already talked about two causes and two effects, right? Well, when it comes to interdependent origination, we also see the principle of cause and effect at work, because there's no phenomena that is not the effect of interdependent origination. And the Buddha often use two examples to help us understand the nature of interdependent origination. The first example is the flame in an oil lamp. That comes about only because of the oil, the wick, and the wick, right? Without the oil and the wick, there is no flame. So when the oil and the wick are present, the flame burns. But if either is absent, the flame will cease to burn. So we talk about causes and conditions. They must come together in order for things to happen. And when the causes and conditions end, the thing will end also. So that's the first example. The second example that the Buddha always uses is a sprout, the sprout of a plant. That depends on the seed, the earth, water, air, and sunlight coming together. Then we have the seed sprouting up, right? Growing. So the causes conditions here are seed, earth, water, air, and sunlight. When these causes and conditions are present, the seed will develop into a sprout. When these causes and conditions are not present, the seed will not develop into the sprout. So we call this the principle of conditionality, the principle of causal conditioning. And we normally state it this way: when this is, that is; this arising, that arises. When this is not, that is not. This ceasing, that ceases. So in other words, all beings, mental and physical, arise and exist due to the presence of certain conditions and cease once their conditions are removed. Okay, so the principle of cause-effect unites the Four Noble Truths, unite interdependent origination. It also complements the teaching that no permanent independent self can be found. Yeah, what we call self is basically an expression of a series of conditioned and conditioning links leading to suffering. And when suffering ends, these links will also end. So we see, buffet, ordinary people, self-service, right? People, the noble ones, non-self-service, no self. Okay, we usually understand interdependent origination by looking at 12 links. So this 12 links states how causality, the principle of causality, operates. And what are these 12 links? It begins with ignorance, basic poison, right? From ignorance, we have coming formations or karma, and then that leads to consciousness, our mind and matter, or body and mind, our six senses, contact, feelings, cravings, clinging, becoming, and then that leads to birth, decay, and death, and the circle goes round and round. All right, so these are the 12 conditioning links, 12 links of dependent origination that explains our existence in this wheel of life. So it helps us, it is equivalent to the first two noble truths. Now, when we end ignorance, we will end karmic formations, we will end karma. With the end of karma, we end consciousness, we end body and matter, we end our six senses, we end our contact, we end our feelings, cravings, clinging, becoming, birth, we end our decay. So no more rebirth. So when we end ignorance, right, that refers to the third and fourth noble truths. So this is the relationship between the four noble truths and interdependent origination. Okay, so by uniting the four noble truths, the doctrine, the principle of interdependent origination gives us an explanation of moral and spiritual life. The work of Buddhist practice, therefore, is to cultivate the conditions that set in motion and bring about the process leading to the end of ignorance. And what is the process leading to the end of ignorance? By practicing the fourth noble truth, the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay, often this 12 links of interdependence is also interpreted in terms of explaining our 3 lifetimes. So our past life, yeah, from our past life, we have ignorance and karma. So that's past causes that gives rise to our present effects and causes: conscious, body and matter, 6 senses, contact, feelings, craving, attachment, and becoming. And then because of these present causes of craving, attachment, and becoming, we are reborn again in the future. Okay, so these 12 links of interdependent origination helps to explain our past, our present, and our future. So when we eliminate ignorance, the rest will all be eliminated. We will no longer be in this wheel of life. We will be in the world of no birth, no death. We will be in nirvana. Again, this is the relationship between the four noble truths and interdependent origination. Great. I think we've covered everything important about the four noble truths. Now let us move on to our conclusion with words of encouragement from Master Thich Nhat Hanh, how to transform our suffering to happiness. Now, in our daily life, let us remember the importance of practice in transforming our suffering to happiness. Every moment that we practice is a moment of happiness. Every moment that we're fully present, fully awake and mindful is a moment of happiness. So mindfulness helps us to go home to the present. And every time we go there and recognize a condition of happiness that we have, happiness comes. When we practice mindfulness, we are in contact with life. We can offer our love and compassion to lessen suffering and to bring about joy and happiness. Therefore, do not lose ourselves in the past or in the future, or lose ourselves in our anger, worries, or fears. Come back to the present moment and touch life deeply. We can generate the energy of mindfulness in each moment of our daily life. We can enter the heart of the Buddha because mindfulness is the Buddha. So true home, our true home is in the here and now. The past is already gone and the future is not yet here. I have arrived. I am home in the here, in the now. This is our practice. So let us open the door of our heart to enter the heart of the Buddha because mindfulness is the Buddha. We need to touch the Buddha within us. We need to enter our own heart, which means to enter the heart of the Buddha. To enter the heart of the Buddha means to be present for ourselves, to be present for our suffering, our joys, and to be present for many others. To enter the heart of the Buddha means to touch the world of no birth and no death, which is Nibbana. So our true home is in the here and now. It is not limited by time, space, nationality, or race. Our true home is not an abstract idea. It is something we can touch and live in every moment. So listen to ourselves. Yeah, experience every moment as a wonderful moment. That is our practice. When we begin our practice, we bring our suffering and our habit energies with us. Through the practice of mindful living, we learn new habits. Walking, we know that we're walking. Sitting, we know that we're sitting. Practicing this way, we slowly undo our habits and develop the new habit of dwelling deeply and happily in the present moment. With mindfulness in us, we can smile a smile that proves our transformation from suffering to happiness. As long as we're heading in the right direction, we're making progress. So let's be patient with ourselves. Let's act with determination. Let's practice diligently. Just take one moment at a time. And if we can do so, the path to joy is joy, right? We will be filling our life with moments of joy. Every moment of joy makes up the path. So the path to joy is joy. Well, the heart of the Buddha has been touched by our being wonderfully together, like all of us here. Please practice as an individual, a family, a city, a country, and a worldwide community. Please take care of the happiness of everyone around you. Enjoy your breathing. Enjoy your smiling. You're shining the light of happiness on each thing you do. For awareness, mindfulness is like the sun. When it shines on things, they are transformed. And if we find peace in ourselves, we can build up peace in the world. Therefore, the teachings of the Buddha on transformation and healing are very deep. They are not theoretical. They can be practiced every day. Please practice them and realize them. Master Thich Nhat Hanh is confident that you can do it. I'm confident that all of us can do it, right? Just relax, smile, and practice. So this is it. I've arrived. I'm home. Be still and heal. Mindfulness. Be happy now. Because we are alive, everything is possible. We need to wake up from our autopilot mode. We have to live deeply and with more awareness so that we can be attentive to each moment. For enlightenment, peace, and joy will not be granted by someone else. The well is us. Mindfulness is the Buddha. Let us open the door of our heart to the heart of the Buddha. Okay, that's the practice. That's the way to ultimate happiness. Okay, let's summarize, right, by reviewing what we've done this evening. We begin by reviewing what we covered last week. Then we move on to take a look at mental development, conceptual understanding, why mental development is important to both good conduct and wisdom. We talk about Buddhist meditation in terms of calmness and insight. We move on to right effort, right mindfulness. And right mindfulness means practicing the four foundations of mindfulness, of the body, of feelings, of our mind states or emotions, of all phenomena, all physical and mental processes by being mindful of our five aggregates. And we talk about mindfulness as the Buddha. Then on mental development, we move on to right concentration, excess concentration, and the four jhanas. Then finally, wisdom, right understanding or right view, and right thought or right intention, right understanding or right view, the ordinary aspect level of our mundane happiness. The higher aspect or level will be supramundane or ultimate happiness. Right thought and right intention, we talk about the four immeasurables, divine abidings, the four sublime states, the practice of metta meditation. And then the Four Noble Truths and its relationship with interdependent origination, the 12 links of interdependent origination, which explains our 3 lifetimes. And then we conclude with words of encouragement from Master Thich Nhat Hanh, how to transform our suffering to happiness. That's all. Q&A if you have any. We're almost there, right? A final few minutes.
Yes, we still have 15 minutes. Yeah, so anyone have any question can unmute yourself and ask Venerable directly.
Everyone is happy now, right? We've come to the end of the Four Noble Truths. We already know the secret, right? The secret is an open secret, the Noble Eightfold Path. We probably all know about it. What we need to do is really to practice it, to walk the path. Yeah? That's the most important aspect, which is why I think it is good that every now and then we come back to the most basic of Buddhist teachings, the Four Noble Truths, because, we start off with this, and on the way, we get fascinated with so many other paths of practice that, we need really to bring ourselves back to the fundamentals. Anyone?
Venerable, I have a question.
Sure.
So, in mentioning that we should practice meditation to improve ourselves and improve our life, may I know what are some pitfalls that we should be aware of when practicing meditation? Like, for example, if someone were to meditate and they hope to achieve a certain state, but they end up, they will say, like they go on to the wrong path. So what are some things we need to be aware of?
Okay, yes, very good, right? This is why when we talk about the Noble Eightfold Path, we always start off with right understanding or right view, isn't it? Why are we engaged in Buddhist practice? Why are we doing meditation? It should not be to build up meditational powers, yeah? If our purpose in practicing meditation is to develop power so that we can impress everybody or become rich and famous, that is the wrong view, and that will lead us to the wrong path. So we must have the right view. Yeah, we are practicing meditation because we want to live a happy life. We want to create happiness for the people around us. We want to create happiness for the world, right? For our community, for our society. We want to transform our unwholesomeness to wholesomeness. We want to transform our self-centeredness to selflessness. So if we always have this goal in mind, in our practice, transform unwholesomeness to wholesomeness, to transform self-centeredness to selflessness, then we are on the right path. Right? When we meditate, we will be safe. And when we meditate, we must not have a certain an expectation that we must achieve, like this first jhana or whatsoever. Once we have this kind of expectation, then it is a subtle form of greed already. And then let's say if in the past we experienced first jhana before, wow, so great. And then we want to have it again and we don't get it again, we become very agitated. So that is not good, right? That is the wrong way to look at meditation. We just let ourselves into the present moment because we know that everything is impermanent. So sometimes we can achieve first jhana, sometimes we cannot. So that is the impermanence of life. That is the thing that we want to achieve. And ultimately, what we want to achieve is not this sense of, wow, so joy, so good, yeah? This sense of attachment, this sense of subtle greed, yeah? It becomes, what we want to achieve is equanimity. The ups and downs of life, we can view with equanimity, yeah? Whatever that comes into our life, we can view with equanimity. And once we have this equanimity right very deep in us, we can deal with everything in life, all the ups and downs of life. We will have the calmness of mind. We will have the clarity of mind. We will have the compassion of mind to transform unwholesomeness to wholesomeness, to transform self-centeredness to selflessness. So yes, that's a very good question. The purpose of our Buddhist practice, including meditation, we must get it right. Otherwise, right, 走火入魔, right, as the Chinese saying goes, on the wrong path.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you. If anyone has any Q&A, any question? If not, we still have about 10 minutes, right? Shall we do a few minutes of mindfulness meditation? And then we round up with the closing puja?
Okay, sure.
Okay, it's just a very quick mindfulness, right? Because we already know the theory of it. And then we have already done mindfulness practice in our first 3 weeks as well. So now just get back to our calm mind. Yeah, we've talked. Our mind very actively listening just now to the Dharma talk, listening, reflecting. Now let's put it into practice. Yeah, calm our minds by focusing on our breath. Calm our mind by focusing on our breath. Just relax, smile, and focus on our breath. Calm our mind by just focusing on our breath, right? We always begin with calm meditation, tranquility meditation, samatha meditation. Now, let us practice mindfulness of the body by observing the qualities of our breath. Is it a long breath or a short breath? An in-breath or an out-breath? A long breath or a short breath? An in-breath or an out-breath? When we practice mindfulness of the body, we will gradually develop a calm body. Then we can move on to mindfulness of our feelings. Check our feelings. Is it pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? Pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? When we continue to be mindful of our feelings, we will not just have a calm body, but also a calm mind. Then we can practice mindfulness of our states of mind, or mindfulness of our emotions. We check our mind, right? Our emotions. Our mind stable or unstable? Is it a stable mind or an unstable mind? Is it a wholesome mind or unwholesome mind? A wholesome emotion or unwholesome emotion? Then from then on, we can practice mindfulness of all phenomena, all physical and mental processes, by bringing our mind to be mindful of whatever we may experience as we breathe. Yeah, whatever physical and mental processes or phenomena that we may encounter. If we like, we can just focus on our thoughts as an example of mindfulness of all phenomena. Our thoughts, wholesome thoughts or unwholesome thoughts. Wholesome thoughts or unwholesome thoughts. As we observe our thoughts, just like as we observe our breathing, feelings, and states of mind, be mindful of their impermanence, their flowing nature, their moments of rising and falling. When we perceive them as they are, body, feelings, emotions, and thoughts, impermanent and ever-changing, we will be mindful of the suffering that arises from being attached to them. And we can be mindful that there is no permanent substantial self. As we observe our body, feelings, emotions, and thoughts, let us therefore be mindful of the three universal characteristics of impermanence, suffering, and not self. And we can practice mindfulness almost anytime, anywhere. Whenever we're mindful of what we're doing, we are practicing mindfulness of body. For example, when we're mindful of how we eat, how we drink, shower, urinate, talk, write, we are practicing mindfulness of body. When we're mindful of how we feel, no matter what we're doing, we are practicing mindfulness of feelings. For example, when we shower or talk, we can check whether our feelings are pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Whenever we're mindful of our emotions, no matter what we're doing, we're practicing mindfulness of our mind. For example, when we eat or drink, we can check whether our states of mind or emotions are stable or unstable, wholesome or unwholesome. We can be mindful when we're eating or drinking, whether we're doing so calmly or excitedly, greedily or in moderation. When we're mindful of all our experiences, no matter what we're doing, we're practicing mindfulness of all phenomena. In doing so, we learn to be mindful of the three universal characteristics of impermanence, suffering, and not self. And because we can practice mindfulness no matter what we're doing, from the moment we wake up to the moment we sleep, it is a very powerful form of practice. Therefore, regardless of how old or how young we are, let us meditate every day. Let us grow our brain power every day. Let us be happier and wiser every day. Okay, please gently open your eyes.